This now, it's been over a week since schools reopened, and talks over that decision continue. Some schools were forced to close down shortly after opening. This due to staff members and pupils testing positive for COVID-19. Now, the Congress of South African Students is calling for a shutdown of all schools. It says the Basic Education Department needs to draw up new plans to ensure pupils are safe at school. But to discuss this, we're joined by Deputy Minister of Basic Education, that is Regina. Thank you so much, Deputy Minister, for your time, and a very warm good morning to you. I want to start off perhaps with, some of the strategies that you have in place. I understand that you do still plan on phasing in the rest of those grades. We'll get into the challenges that you face as a department in just a moment with the first phasing in, but bearing that in mind, how are you now strategizing and putting measures in place to ensure that the second phase goes according to plan?
Good morning to you and good morning to the viewers. I speak with you here in the Shimungwe circuit next to Kruger National Park, which is the most rural area in the Mpumalanga province and Ehlanzeni region. We are here to test our first strategies as if the strategy is working. I'm so impressed because in the most rural area, the strategy is working. And what I found out, even from the schools themselves, is that they are preparing for the next intake of the learners, the next phase of the other grades that are coming in. So as the basic education, we are happy generally in the whole country, seeing that learners were hungry to come to school and teachers were also hungry to come and teach their children, especially in the rural areas, unlike in towns and cities where learners will benefit from the social media, from the e-learning and all the other mediums that we're using. But in the typical rural areas, learners were not benefiting. That's why they are the most happy learners to be at schools. Like in the school where I am right now, is 100% attendance. Under the chilly weather, it's very cold, but I was surprised to find that all the learners are at school, all teachers are at the schools. I'm visiting 5 schools today, and in all the 5 schools, I found that they are adhering to all the COVID-19 rules that have been set up by the Department of Health that we adhere to as basic education when our learners are coming to school. I'm so happy they are adhering to that 100%, including water, because in the area of Bushbuck Ridge, the schools are old, there's no water, but really, I found that most schools have their own boreholes and their own JoJo tankers. They pump water, they use flushing toilets, and it's just so perfect in such a way that I did not expect this. So generally in the whole country, we have started as basic education under the leadership of Minister Motshekga, with all the MECs. We're even going to have a meeting tomorrow to check the readiness for the next phase. Because this first phase, we are adhering to social distancing, sanitization, putting face masks by all the learners, and which all that has been done.
Right. And
now we are preparing for the next phase and preparing space for them, taking into consideration the social distances. Yes, in other schools in rural areas, the space will not be enough to cater for all the learners when they come back. But we have set up options that they consider platooning, they consider some grades attending on some other days, that in a week, maybe internal grades, they use 3 days and 2 days, and the following week, those who use 2 days will use 3 days.
All right.
And schools are also weighing all those options.
Deputy Minister, you sound quite satisfied with how, measures are currently put in place in most schools right now. Of course, even showing the 100% attendance of some of the pupils, showing commitment there coming from learners. However, with some of the challenges that you have faced right now, this being, of course, some staff members at certain schools testing positive, some schools having to shut down, are you not at all, for lack of a better word, intimidated by calls calls for more schools to shut down, these by organizations such as COSAS. We've seen in the Western Cape them sort of like going from school to school, quite aggressively saying we will shut down the schools ourselves if we have to, but them again defending that this is for the betterment of the staff as well as for the learners to be protected against COVID-19. Don't you think this will sort of deter you from some of the plans that you have in phasing in the next grades?
Yeah, the plans remain. All the plans remain, but what we are calling for, all the stakeholders, we know that education is a societal matter. It affects everybody. We are calling upon all those who feel aggrieved about the programs that we have. We cannot account 100% on the COVID and the rise of the bar and etc. because no one in the country or any elsewhere in the whole world has an experience of this pandemic. We are relying on the Department of Health and the research that is made by scientists and those professionals. Whatever they will advise us on, we will do it. So now, whatever we do in consultation with the Department of Health. When they say yes, learners can still continue going to school. We are managing this pandemic this way. We follow all their rules and regulations, the Department of Health. Education cannot have expertise on dealing with the diseases, with this disease. But we understand that when the Department of Health says if one person who was in the vicinity of other people, which was serving as contacts, was in that same place with the people, the institution for a while must be closed and all those must be subjected to quarantine and then be tested.
Right.
We follow all that. Not to say that the schools that are being closed because one is infected or what are going to be closed forever, are closed just to adhere to those health regulations. But we are calling upon COSAS and other stakeholders who feel that they are not satisfied about what the department is doing to come forth and bring their advices. The department and the minister really is a listening somebody who will listen to them, but just go out and want to shut down schools without coming to the department is not going to help the country, it's not going to help education.
Thank you, Minister.
It's not going to help them. Let them come forward.
Well, thank you so much, Deputy Minister. Due to time, this way we'll have to leave our conversation. That was